Péter Girán. I'm from Hungary, and I'm doing my doctoral studies in the University of Pécs, where this was my first year. And today I would like to talk about a little bit about my research topic, which is the Spanish guitar music in the 20th century. Now, this topic is very dear to me because I love both classical and flamenco music, and I think that flamenco had it played a great role in the inspiration of the 20th century Spanish classical guitar music. I'm going to touch topics like basic differences between the two styles, also some basic similarities. And I don't really want to go really in depth with them because time is short, and I want to talk about several things just to give a clearer image about this whole topic. And so I'm going to touch some basic differences, similarities, the repertoire. I'm going to talk about, and as I mentioned, the 20th century repertoire, and I'm going to go technical after this, and talk about what and how can we adapt in the classical guitar to help us play this kind of music a little bit more authentic, to say so. Let's start with the repertoire. In the last century, we had some Spanish composers who wrote for the guitar, but were not original guitarists, such as Torroba, Turina, Rodrigo. We have many others, but I'm just going to mention some of them. We also had some who didn't even write for the guitar, but they wrote for piano, orchestra, and many other instruments, such as Albéniz, Granados, De Falla. And we also have some guitarists who were also composing, like Sainz de la Masa, who is not so well known, but he still is. He plays a big part of our last century repertoire, even if you don't know about it. And I want to point out that their music, when you hear their music, you can say that, yeah, this is Spanish music. And what is this element that makes them Spanish? For this answer, we have to go back 100 years or so, 150, to the time of the Romantic era, and we have to take a look at the Spanish Romanticism, the nationalist style, and in which these people compose, like De Falla or Albéniz, and this style involves the use of folk music elements, of folklore into classical music, adaptation of motifs from folk music, and this happens to be in the same time as the start of the golden age of flamenco, let's say, when it started to gain publicity. It became open to the public, as it was being performed in theaters, in cafes, in many places. And this style, this nationalist style, it of course it went through all Europe in different times. And Spain, because of its history, it was a little bit late with it. I don't really want to go into history because this is not a history class. So I think this is enough about it. And as flamenco and the guitar as an instrument are so tightly connected to each other, I think that analyzing or studying a little bit about flamenco is very important. Not just for playing the repertoire I mentioned, So, for example, playing Concerto de Aranjuez, of course, it helps, but it's not just for that. And I'm going to a little bit later. I'm going to go back to what is Spanish music, or why do we say this piece of music is Spanish. But first, I'm going to go a little bit technical. Uh, so if we hear some flamenco guitarists play and hear a burst of rasgados, um, then most of the time we are like, "Wow, that's cool. That's amazing." Yes, that is for sure. Uh, but for us, classical guitarists, it's a technique which we rarely use, or we don't even know how to use at all. That's why we are that highly amazed because of it. And why are we not playing it? As the instrument is, let's say, more or less the same. There are many differences, but I don't really want to go into it now. So we could also play rasgados on our classical guitar, and in fact we are playing sometimes. So when you're playing like Giuliani, or I don't know, we have some chords which need us to play all six strings for a chord, but I wouldn't really call this a rasgado, even if you are doing with, I don't know, the middle finger or index finger. This is not yet a rasgado, don't call it a rasgado. So why are we not playing rasgados? Because most of our repertoire does not require us to do so. If you think about Dowland, Bach, Giuliani, Sor, Merz, you name them, there are many other composers. Uh, we never really see the need of rasgados. But if you take a look at the last century and the Spanish music, like uh, Toroba less than like Rodrigo, or even those who didn't compose for the guitar, like the Falla or Albanese, you see that there are many chords which have to be played fast, and there are all six strings involved, and here you can see that it's needed to play rasgados here. I'm going to show an example with which I will go forward to the next topic. And this example is the Miller's Dance by the Falla. And everybody, or most of the guitarists, know this piece or have already played it. And the most interesting part for us now is this. And whatever. Okay, so why did I show this? At first, because of the techniques, the rasgados. I was now trying to play it like I have never practiced or never studied doing rasgados, and I'm going to show it again, and then try to make a version where I'm using some kind of the more, let's say, more advanced types of rasgados. There are hundreds of well, not so much, but there are really lots of different rasgado techniques, and I'm just going to show one or two. So let me play the same one again. And let me show the other one where I'm trying to involve some more advanced rasgados. This is just this serves as an example for what's the difference between the two types of rasgados. I hope that you could hear when I was playing the second one, I was much more rhythmical, and This is because in flamenco music, rhythm is key, is one of the most basic aspects that is mandatory to know. And the tempo and the rhythm, it's very mandatory to know. And I think this is one point which comes so from flamenco it comes to our classical repertoire, that in some music you really have to be very rhythmical, like in this. um, I'm not really going to go deep into rasgados because we don't really have time for that. Maybe later, maybe sometime. But let me just say that practicing rasgados is not only good for playing this piece, for example, or playing the Concerto d'Aranjuez, or you know that there is at the end of the cadence of the second movement there is this. Everybody plays it differently, and what I think is very important here is also that don't let it sound like this is something that has no rhythm. It just notes all over the place, spread out. Um, of course, I might be a little bit exaggerating a little bit, but if I want to play it much more rhythmically, there are also lots of ways with the right hand, the rasgados to play it. It's just one I found for myself to work. I think this sounds much more rhythmical and much more furious, which should be, I think, at that part of the piece. Um, okay, so why does it help us otherwise than playing these pieces? It's because the usage of the right hand muscles. Um, let's try something. You can even do it on the guitar, but I think in the air it's just easier now. So let's try to move your middle finger, your M finger inside, like as if doing a basic free stroke on any of the strings, and put your left hand up here and feel the movement of the muscles in your right arm. And after you feel the movement, do the exact opposite. Go outwards with a straight finger, kind of a straight finger. And you can feel that this movement is 2 or 3 times as big as before. You can compare the two to each other. If you are practicing rasgados, you are essentially training these muscles to work. And this way, this helps with everything your right hand does. Because even if you are just playing free strokes or just playing, I don't know, any piece, you still have to come outwards with the fingers. And practicing rasgados helps with it on the long run, that's for sure. If you have ever met Pepe Romero or have listened or heard him hold master classes or whatever, many times he's referring to practice rasgados every day, just practice rasgados. And I think he's right. And I can say that from my experiences, they help a lot, really. So as this is no place for some rasgado exercises, because it would take hours to go through some exercises. I will now go on to the next topic I mentioned, and that's how can we tell that the music is Spanish, or why is it Spanish music? What's the key to it? And for this, I'm going to show a little basic example. And of course, it's not the key to every piece of music that is Spanish, it's just one basic example. But at the end, I think it will make sense. So I'm going to show basic cadence 4 chords, 4 basic chords, which sound like if we analyze this from the classical perspective, then we are getting like we are in the key of A minor. This is the first grade. The second one is a G major. This is a natural 7th grade. We don't really want to go deep into the music theory. The third chord is an F major. That's a 6th degree. And the last one is a 5th. It's an E major. So what we are getting here basically is we are starting from a tonic and we are getting to the dominant, the 5th. And what this chord wants here, you can even play it with the 7th chord. This wants to go back to our A minor. That's how it resolves from the 5th up to the 1st. And if we try to analyze this from a flamenco perspective, then we might find out that this is a whole lot different. Like in the Miller's dance, here we feel like that this is some kind of harmony that is it's okay, it's a normal harmony. Here we have so much tension, and when we go back to the E major, we feel like this is the resolution. That's exactly the point. That's one key difference between the two styles, that they have their, let's say, the tonics and the dominants in different places most of the time. Because in flamenco, the use of the Phrygian mode is much more frequent, as in this case. The Phrygian mode is a mode like the major and minor, but if we start it from the E note and go an octave up without any alterations, so E, F, G, A, B, C, D. This is the Phrygian mode, as opposed to a major, which is like, let's say, starting from E, it sounds like Phrygian. And I'm also going to play a minor or a natural minor. So this is our Phrygian mode, which is much more frequently used in flamenco music. I'm not saying that major or minor scales play no part in flamenco, because yes, they do. But and I'm also not saying the Phrygian mode is not present in classical music. It is, just very rarely. It's really very rare to see somebody compose something in the Phrygian mode. Okay, so this is one key difference between the two styles, that many of the flamenco dances and flamenco songs are composed in Phrygian modes, and there's also not really time for this to go deep into this. And as time is short, as a last technical example, I would like to include the thumb, the development of the thumb, the differences, similarities, whatever. So basically, what you can see, again, when you are listening to flamenco guitarists, that they play very fast and furious passages with the thumb. They have totally different thumb skills and tool sets than us classical guitarists. So for example, there is the alzapua technique, which involves the thumb, and it's a very playing multiple strings and very fast, very rhythmical. We don't have anything like that in classical music. So why for them it's very important to play with the thumb, because it has the most power of all. And if you're playing with a dancer or with singers or whatever, you really have have to have some kind of sound that they can hear. And with a thumb, it's much easier to produce. And the position of the guitar also matters a lot. So if you see the classical guitarists hold the guitar like this, and then see the flamenco guitarists hold it on the right leg without a foot stall. I mean, there are lots of different positions. There are those who even play with foot stall, or those who play with their right leg on the foot stall, and so there are hundreds of positions. But this is the position you see the most, and this is good for the right hand because the palm, the wrist, it gets much more free, and it allows you to use your arm weight with the thumb, which means the movement does not start from here as when you see with, I don't know, like playing the, let me see it back to the classical. I'm only working my thumb here, and in this position I cannot really make or play apoyando without adjustments. I can, it's very ugly because the resistance is very big. I mean, it depends on the thumb shape, the nail shape, whatever. But without altering my position a little bit, I cannot really play to the apoyando. And in this position, this becomes very natural. And as you can see, I'm not only moving my thumb, but you can see that this part of the hand or my wrist and hand is also moving. This loudness you can hear now is without any effort. I really make it. I just kind of let the weight of the arm drop onto the string, as opposed to what I can do here with the same effort. I hope the microphone can still hear it and make you be able to hear the difference. So I was trying and thinking that there are some pieces which require us to play with the thumb. For example, there is a piece, Homage a Tarrega by Joaquin Turina. It's a piece in 2 movements, and the first movement, the garrotin, it sounds like this, the beginning of it. Whatever. As you could see, I was playing the upward scale with my thumb because the score says it should be played with the thumb. So you can see writing the P letter above every note. And there are also some slurs included. I didn't play them now, but it doesn't matter in this case. So why does it say, or why is it good to play it with the thumb? You can definitely play it without. You can play with IM. Even if playing with apoyando, with rest strokes, playing with the thumb is just so much powerful, so much intensive, that I think it's worth the time and investment you have to make in your thumb according to playing this technique. And again, if you are practicing your thumb, it's not only for playing 2 passages or 3 scales in your life with your thumb and yeah, that's why I practice my thumb. No, it's for the development of everything according to the thumb. Even when playing Dowland, Bach, whatever, it still helps you if you develop it a little bit. We don't really have time for exercises. Again, I'm just going to show one little thing. my conclusions of some technical stuff regarding the thumb. So what we can do to make ourselves possible of playing this passage with the thumb. If I'm playing the standard classical positions, I cannot really play it. I'm putting all my efforts in to try to play this, and I'm sure there are people who can play it better, but still, I cannot play it as good as I can with some little modifications. And these are, if I bring my right arm a little bit to this side, and a little bit forward or downwards or whatever you call it, and focus that my thumb it's not like this, and also the arm or the wrist is not like this. So if I'm bringing my arm here, then this kind of arm weight I mentioned before, it becomes more natural. It comes naturally, and of course you have to practice it, and you have to practice speed. There are exercises for it, but it makes me possible of playing something like this, or even at the end of the Zapateado by Rodrigo. I haven't practiced this piece for years, but let's see what comes back. This part you can also play with, but it's nowhere near something like this. And I think power and intensity is key in Spanish music. Not all the time, but many times, most of the time, it's very important that you can be very intensive in a matter of microseconds and jump from nothing to very powerful intensity in a matter of microseconds. So that's it for today. Time's up. So I thank you for watching this little short video, maybe a little bit longer than intended. And stay safe and stay healthy. Goodbye.